So we're talking to Guy Kawasaki today,
Yep.
venture capitalist, technology evangelist. We want to talk about Guy's new book, Enchantment.
Yep.
So the first thing, as I was looking over it, I wanted to hear from you, what was the inspiration behind the book?
The inspiration. Well, there's two answers to this question.
Okay.
Which answer do you want? Like the serious one or the funny one?
No, give me both. Give me
Okay.
whatever one you want.
So the serious one is, since 1979, working in jewelry and high tech, I've been evangelizing. We might get some family action.
That's okay. Fine by me.
Yeah, I've been evangelizing or enchanting people, starting in the jewelry business and then the high tech business. And I became a student of Robert Cialdini, who wrote the book Influence, and Dale Carnegie, How to Win Friends and Influence People. And I wanted to, put my stake in the ground in that genre. I had the advantage of being, 80 years after Dale Carnegie, so I had Twitter and Facebook, he didn't.
Right.
And Robert Cialdini comes at it from a professor's, academic background, very scientific, very careful, objective, high quality, statistically relevant, all that. And I come at it strictly from business. And, in business, you're not creating standard deviation calculations and chi-square tests and all that. Either you sell more or you don't, right? And so that's the direction I'm coming from. So that's the serious answer. I wanted people to go from, if you will, engagement to enchantment, just like Tom Peters went from, having a business that survives to a business that's excellent.
Okay.
That's a serious answer. The silly answer is, I was in a 2-book deal, and my editor said, Guy, it's about time for your second book. So, royalty is the second answer.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It is a business world.
It is.
So what exactly do you mean by enchantment?
I mean, it's a process where you are becoming likable and trustworthy, or more likable and trustworthy, to a point where you can change people's hearts, minds, and actions. It is a mutually beneficial, long-lasting, and delightful relationship, like Apple has with its customers, or Virgin America, or Zappos. It is not strictly a transaction where you take a flight, or you buy one pair of shoes, or you buy one laptop. All those companies have a much more enchanting relationship with their customers than single transactions.
So in your opinion, how does enchantment differ from persuasion? And when is one more appropriate than the other?
I would say that enchantment is a higher form of persuasion. And you can persuade people to do things with promotions, coupons, price discounts,
Force.
grinding them out. Whereas enchantment, it's categorically different. If you're persuaded to buy a laptop, it's for all these factors. Maybe it's the corporate standard. If you're enchanted, you buy it with pleasure, and you think of it as an extension of yourself that makes you more creative, more powerful, as opposed to something you have to fight with to make it work. So that's why product quality plays a definite part in enchantment.
Okay. So give me an example of when you have enchanted someone to get you what you want.
Well, I'll show you. Where is that can? Now that I want to use it. Never mind, I'll have to come up with a different example. So, I think that this is not about me and how I could enchant people, because I think that sort of defeats the purpose. That's like bragging that you pulled something over somebody. Okay? That's not the point of enchantment. In a sense, with my early work with Macintosh, I evangelized / enchanted a lot of developers to risk their companies, really, by writing Mac software. And at the time, Macintosh was not shipping, so it had a very small installed base, mostly of prototypes under non-disclosure. And it took some doing to convince people, to enchant them, to evangelize them, to believe in the Macintosh dream, as opposed to just buying a Macintosh, that Macintosh could make people more creative, more productive. For a programmer, it represented a very rich development environment that they could finally write the software they always wanted to write. For a marketing person, it enabled you to reach a market that may have never bought personal computers before. So that's probably where I did my earliest and biggest work enchanting people.
Okay. So any successful tech leaders that are
Enchanting.
enchanting? Yeah.
Well, yeah, obviously those three companies are led by Steve Jobs and Richard Branson and Tony Hsieh, so all of them are enchanting. I think the three companies have different personalities. I think Apple's enchantment is based on product, and Virgin's enchantment is based on Richard Branson's likability. When I first met him in Moscow, he asked me if I flew Virgin, and I said no because I'm a United Airlines Global Services level. And he got on his knees and started polishing my shoes with his jacket, right? So it's going to be a long time before you see Steve Jobs polish your shoes for you to use an iPad, okay? The third example, of course, is Tony Hsieh and with Zappos. Another example of an enchanting person building an enchanting company.
Okay. Is Larry Ellison an enchanter?
Well, I don't know him personally. I don't think I've ever met him. But just from the outside looking in, I'd be lying to you if I told you that. I'm not trying to say that enchantment is the only path to success.
Okay.
And I can't tell you that Larry Ellison strikes me as an enchanting person. Successful, but not enchanting. I mean, if you ask me the same question about Steve Ballmer,
Yeah.
I think there's the Steve and Larry club, and then but hey,
many other clubs.
who am I to
Yeah.
I don't have a yacht.
So it's probably too early to say. Anyone you know who's read the book and has changed their ways, or trying to?
You know what surprised me is that a lot of people have told me the first two chapters are about likability and trustworthiness, and in particular, the first chapter is about really basic things like smiling and handshakes and how to dress, which are kind of duhisms. So I thought, if anything, it would be close to almost insulting people, right? But a lot of people have come to me and says, Guy, now I smile more, and the people who work for me tell me that I smile more. That chapter's changed my life. I go, okay. I mean, you need to buy a book to tell you to smile.
Yeah,
it's a little scary.
This is not a book for techies only or the Silicon Valley people. This is for anyone.
Target market is anybody with a pulse and $15. How's that?
That'd be the cost of the book.
Street price at Amazon. I mean, $26.95. Other places. Yeah.
So, a lot of this advice that you're writing about, does it come from your own life experience?
Oh,
Or
absolutely.
or do you draw from others around you?
Certainly, I have not put anything in the book that I don't think is right. Obviously, but a lot of it came from my work experience, and a lot of it came from studying the works of Carnegie and Cialdini, and I have a shelf full of books that I used as research. But I didn't take everything. And, part of being an author, seriously, is you have to know what to steal. Because, you could break into a house and, steal the styrofoam packing, right? But, a good thief knows what to steal. So a lot of it is I use the citations, the social psychology experiments to back up theories and practices that I've had. This is not an academic book. It is a book for business people. Well, not even just business people. It's for people who want to improve their relationships, as opposed to a person who wants to become, an expert in social science. This is all pragmatic. I can point people to better books for theory. And
So, next question is: so, how did you get started in hockey?
I got started in hockey because 9 years ago, I went to a birthday party with my kids at the Shark Tank and saw hockey. Never seen hockey in my life before. My kids decided they wanted to take it up. So my wife said, I don't want you to be one of these sideline dads on his BlackBerry all the time. You need to take it up with them so that you have this fatherly bonding experience. And I have to tell you, the first time I tried hockey, first of all, I didn't know you had to sharpen your skates. I thought they come sharpened, right?
They're pretty sharp.
Yeah. So luckily, somebody told me that before I got on the ice. It was really been a bad experience. So I get on the ice for the first time. Can't skate worth shit, but that's not changed that much. And I loved it. It was a religious experience for me. Just hockey for me is you take the sort of team play of basketball. You take the the mathematical and physics calculations of angles and bounces and all that kind of stuff. You take a skill that is not natural, right? So you can play basketball if you can run and jump, and you've been running and jumping your whole life. But if you haven't skated, it would be like, one day you decide, I want to play polo, but I've never ridden a horse before, right? That's roughly equal to starting hockey at 48 years old, and it has this element of war to it, and it has this element of ballet. So I can't think of a sport that is more ballet, war, physics, aerobic, and team play. I used to be a really active basketball player. I found basketball, it creates many more injuries. You always get your eye poked out, or your fingers jammed, and it's harder on your knees and back. I play hockey 5 times a week. I could never play basketball 5 times a week. It's just not possible.
Yeah.
And there's also, I noticed, a very interesting thing about hockey, which is in basketball, because the teams rotate in pickup basketball, so there's 2 teams are playing, 1 team is waiting. So if you lose, you sit. So what that means is that typically in basketball, the best players try to get the other best players on their team so they can dominate and never sit. In hockey, the best players not only don't mind, they actually kind of prefer playing with the weaker players to help them. So you very seldom see a pickup hockey team where they try to stack the team. And I played in many pickup games where a team was too powerful, so they swapped. They took a weak player from one side, they traded jerseys, and you can play a lot of basketball and never see that. I've never seen a basketball game where one team said, "We're too strong, we're going to give you our best player, give us your weakest player."
I think you're right. I mean, it's all about the sport. I mean, people who play hockey tend to just absolutely love hockey.
Yeah, really.
And hey, let's have a good game.
I know. I practice hockey. I play hockey.
Okay.
I also noticed the difference between Canadian and American hockey. So I play a lot of pickup hockey in Canada, and in America, even the Canadians or anybody who's good in America, they often go coast to coast. Right? They pick it up in the defensive zone, they skate through 4 people, they go all the way down, and they shoot on the goalie. In Canada, I've never seen that happen. I've played with very good players in Canada. In Canada, everything is about passing.
I think they drill it from the beginning that it's a team sport.
Yeah, there's now, I've seen Canadians come to America
and do the same thing.
and take it end to end. But I was stunned in all the pickup games I played in Canada.
Interesting.
The best players, they always are dishing it off. They're not trying to go end to end.
Having an assist is just as good as scoring a goal.
I mean, literally, mathematically, that's true in points, right? And that is very interesting. And it would be interesting if they kept track of plus minus in basketball.
Maybe they don't do it for a reason.
Everybody would be minus.
So I have 2 more questions.
Okay.
What do you want in the first round for the Sharks this year?
That's a good question. Not Dallas, not Detroit, not Vancouver. Not even the Kings.
I know, yeah.
Jeez, I don't know. Well, one thing we have to say about the Sharks this year is they haven't peaked too early.
Yeah, thankfully. Right? Usually they do that in October, right?
Yeah, and Marlowe's on a streak now, right? He had 2 goals last
night.
They pulled out. They got a point out of thin air last night, right?
Yeah, it was a tough one.
Yeah. If they had won, it would have been truly amazing. But even to do what they did was pretty amazing.
3 seconds left.
Yeah.
Tying goal. Yeah. All right. Well, I won't put you on the spot.
World,
in a
perfect world, the finals would be the Capitals against the Sharks.
Oh, you're talking about the Cup finals.
The Cup.
Okay.
That would be perfect.
That would be perfect world. Now let's talk reality. Who do you think is taking the Cup this year?
Is Cosby coming back or not?
No, I don't think so.
You don't think?
I don't think so. I think it's too late in the season, and they're going to sit him out just to make sure that they have the best player in the league back for many more years.
What if they're, let's say they win the first 2 rounds. You think he'll sit out the finals? I don't think so. Yeah.
It's a question of, do you want to play the rest of your life or not?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
All right, so you're.
I don't have any.
Okay.
There's only downside there.
Yeah.
Let's say the Sharks.
Okay, yeah, all right. Knock on wood, you just jinxed him.
Yeah, right.